So the reporting would be then, if this were true, that the Burisma scheme is confirmed, then Trump is indicted. I'm sure it's just a coincidence. This all just happened, sheer coincidence.
Well, I have to tell you, Laura, I feel like we're winning, and we won some today when everyone feels like we're losing, especially with this indictment of President Trump and this document hoax.
Okay, so yes, it's just a coincidence that they put the charges out today because we have this thing about Burisma that we can't say anything specific about. We're just gonna vaguely say that it proves that Biden is corrupt. By the way, on that convenience thing that the charges happened to come out today, we were told earlier this week that the charges might come out today. The Burisma scheme being confirmed is just Republicans coming out today and saying that it's confirmed. It kind of seems like if it's a coincidence, you guys made it a coincidence. You decided to roll that stuff out today. Why did you rush to do that when you can't prove anything? And it doesn't even matter. If it wasn't Burisma, Brett, it'd be something else. She goes on to say like, oh, it's happening during an election. Martha McCallum saying the same thing. Why are they doing this now during an election? Do you guys remember that he rushed his announcement so that this would be during an election? It's never gonna be the right time, so let's not play that game.
The election's not for a year and a half.
Year and a half, yeah.
That's when it happened. No one, and the only people running in this election are people in the primary. And here's the thing, you guys are just salivating to have DeSantis instead of Trump. That's all. You're just salivating to have DeSantis instead of Trump. So they're just playing their own strategy wrong. It's really stupid. I think that Marjorie Taylor Greene is the chief dum-dum, and to say that she's winning, that they're winning when they are literally like being indicted, that's not a win. That's you just looking at the scoreboard and saying you won, which seems to be their move because they did that. They did that. And that inspired the January 6th insurrection. They still say they won an election that the same court system says they lost. And that everybody, even on their own side, says they lost. It's just they're declaring victory, which is something that's a very Trump move, because rather than use facts to prove stuff, he's just saying things and hoping folks will believe that it's true. And then also, none of this is confirmed. As the person who is in charge of giving like journalism trainings to people at this company, if it's confirmed, you don't have to put the word allegedly in your lower third. And if talking about convenience makes any sense, the convenience aspect at the bottom of them saying Biden and not saying which Biden was allegedly paid $5 million by Burisma, or it says Joe Biden. But yeah, so the allegedly part, you don't have to put that in your lower third if it is actually confirmed.
Yeah, which it hasn't been. But Marge does want to reassure you that there's something here. And she went to great efforts to make that happen. Listen to this.
The FBI is stonewalling us and they would only let us see it in a SCIF. Well, what I did after reading the document is I made notes when I walked out and I went to the table and I wrote down everything that I had just read, so that I could come out and tell the American people what I read.
I don't understand why the idea that if you can't take the actual document, you're going to write it down so you don't forget it, to her is presented as if she's the first person that has ever done that. So what I did was I made another version of it from memory afterward. Like, yeah, you took notes, okay? Which by the way, might seem like, well, yeah, it's just sort of a routine thing, but it's also theoretically a problematic thing for her because a SCIF is used for highly sensitive information. And in most cases, members of Congress are not allowed to repeat information they see inside the facility. They don't just mean that you can't take the document, you can't repeat the information. Even if you went out and wrote down all the things, she was holding up a piece of paper. If the information was on that paper, she's possibly committing a crime.
And also in the impeachment inquiry, those guys said that contemporaneous notes are BS and they shouldn't be believed anyway.
That's true. And by the way, I just want to briefly reiterate the point that I made last week. Now that yesterday, now that we're talking about Marjorie Greene. So they would have you believe that all of this is a fake to take out Trump, to protect Biden. Donald Trump even tweeted out Matt Gaetz saying, imagine being naive enough to believe that the Biden bribe evidence and Trump indictment happening the same day was a coincidence. I don't think it was a coincidence. I think you guys rushed to pretend that there was something here so that it would seem suspicious. But I will say what I've said again. These are the people that believe that basically every mass shooting that has ever happened has been a false flag, that our government is run by lizard clone robots, and they will stop at nothing to stop Trump. Then why are they going through all of this classified document stuff? If they're willing to massacre Americans, why is Trump alive? Why? And if they will stop at nothing to stop him, then why have they stopped? Why didn't they cross that line to just taking him out then at that point?
Right, and if Trump is the #1 guy and anyone who challenges him is a member of the deep state, how is Ron DeSantis not the deep state?
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.